And one place where they are keeping a close watch on this storm is in Polk County. They are on the edge of the cone of uncertainty that Steve talked about. Candace McCowan joining us now live outside the Emergency Operations Center. And really a small shift in the storm, Candace, could make a big difference in this location.
In 2004, a record 4 hurricanes hit Florida, spawning 10 confirmed tornadoes in South Florida, killing 144 people and causing statewide devastation. As the spring rolled in, the stage was already set for a busy hurricane season. A high-pressure ridge was warming the ocean surface and fueling tropical waves as they moved across the Atlantic. The position and clockwise spin of the ridge was drawing storms toward the U.S. Florida was directly in the path. The heart of hurricane season arrived in August with a devastating parade of storms. 4 major hurricanes, Charley, Francis, Jean, and Ivan, slammed into Florida over 48 long days. It began with Charley, which became a hurricane on August 9th. 4 days later, it made landfall near Captiva on the Gulf Coast as a Category 4 storm. Less than 2 weeks later, Hurricane Francis began marching across the Caribbean and hit as a Category 2 near Stewart on September 5th. The storm weakened over land, but struck again, this time as a tropical storm in the Panhandle. Before Francis even hit Florida, Hurricane Ivan had already formed. It made landfall near the Alabama-Florida border on September 16th, but wasn't finished yet. Ivan looped back around, and its remnants hit South Florida on September 21st. Meanwhile, Hurricane Jean was cranking up in the Atlantic and took a dramatic looping turn toward Florida in mid-September, even as the state was still reeling from the effects of the 3 previous storms. Like Francis just 3 weeks earlier, Jean landed near Stewart on September 26th and cut a long swath of damage through the middle of the state. By the end of September, the 4 hurricanes topped the list as the most costly since 1900, a staggering $48 billion in all. In less than 2 months, the 4 storms of 2004 destroyed or damaged 40,000 homes, left 8.5 million residents without electricity, and forced the evacuation of 9.5 million people. That devastating season 10 years ago, and the severe impacts of Hurricane Wilma just a year later, set into motion massive efforts to improve forecasting, public information, and emergency response, plans that are still in progress today.
Then all of a sudden, it takes just a tiny little shift to the right, and because of the way our coast is set up, that means a landfall much further south. That was bad enough, but it also was strengthening too, and it was strengthening rapidly. So this thing becomes a Category 4 storm. Now, as the forward speed is being picked up, you're going to bring hurricane force winds into where you just saw Ken, in a place that they don't typically get hurricane force winds. So while Tampa was spared, yeah, it was at the expense of Charlotte Harbor and Polk County and Orlando. And you know what? Everybody evacuated inland just to be in the middle of this storm.
In fact, Polk County continues to be hit by outer bands from Hurricane Matthew.
Yeah, hundreds of people there rode out the storm in shelters overnight. And News Channel 8's Melissa Marino joins us from a shelter there in Auburndale. And actually, you're standing in front of a tree that fell on top of a car. And, you know, just goes to show you that here we are so far away from Hurricane Matthew that it's still causing damage.
Well, that's right. We've been out all morning throughout Auburndale kind of taking a look at the damage. What we are seeing mostly is downed trees. So now take a look over here. We are on Blake Avenue. Auburndale City crews are here right now clearing this tree because it fell across the street. But as you mentioned, take a look over here. It fell on top of this car in the middle of the night, and that's not it. Over here, you can see 2 more cars. It fell on all 3 cars, damaging all 3 of them. The homeowner tells me she heard the wind howling. She was scared, she was terrified, and then she heard a loud boom and it hit. She came outside and was shocked to see that it landed on all 3 of those cars. But you know what? She's thankful it didn't hit her house and no one was hurt.
And it seems like there's a lot of people out there helping out. Are those local crews or crews from other parts? We are hearing that people are coming from all over to help out, not only with things like downed trees, but also power lines.
Well, so far here, when we pulled up, it was neighbors. They were so nice. They had tools and chainsaws, and they were helping kind of clip these branches. But now this is crews with the city of Auburndale. They actually have their maintenance crews, their road crews, all working together. They're traveling around Auburndale right now, just doing exactly what you see here, cleaning up downed trees.
Yeah, and good to see that at least right now the weather conditions are cooperating. There isn't any big winds coming through that could make that kind of work dangerous. But tell us, Melissa, as you made your way towards that neighborhood, did you see anything else like that, or does it seem like an isolated incident in this one area?
So we were out through Auburndale. We went different areas. We saw this also, I'd say a couple blocks over. In Lake Alfred, we saw crews out there fixing power. We also saw another street here in Auburndale. There was a tree across the street. These crews were actually over there. They told us that this was over here, so we kind of followed them here. So they were cleaning up the one tree, and then they came over here. Now they were cleaning up this. And I actually spoke with an energy spokesperson who told me the weather is actually cooperating with them also, because they're able to get up in their trucks and restore power almost immediately.
Good to hear that. Melissa Marino reporting live in Auburndale, and some areas like where she's at right now in recovery mode, some other areas still waiting for the storm to approach.
Absolutely. And to get the very latest on that, let's turn things